As you know, we are en route to the home of the future Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. As the First Lady would say, go Birds. I think I'm just going to go to questions. I do have a week ahead, but we could always send that out unless you want that right now.
We'll do questions. So, Karine, a couple balloon-related questions. When did the White House learn about the balloon, and why was there a delay in disclosing that the balloon was out there? Secondly, did the president make the decision to cancel the Secretary of State's trip? And what does this episode say about U.S.-China relations at this time?
Okay, that's a lot of questions right there. The president was briefed on this on Tuesday. He has been continued to receive regular briefings and updates from the National Security Team. I just want to reiterate what the Pentagon said earlier today. My counterpart, we've detected and is tracking a high altitude surveillance balloon that is over the continental United States right now. As you all know, it does not present a military or physical threat to people on the ground. President Biden was briefed, as I just stated, and he asked the military to present options. It was the strong recommendation by Secretary Austin, Chairman Milley, the commander of Northern Command, not to take kinetic action because of the risk to safety and security of the people on the ground. President Biden took that recommendation from the military seriously, of his advisors. Clearly, the president will always put the safety of the security of the American people first. And as my colleague said over the Department of Defense earlier today, we are tracking closely and keeping all options on the table. I can say, as it relates to Blinken's trip, the president agrees with the secretary's decision to not go on this trip, and it was a consensus that it was not appropriate to travel to the People's Republic of China at this time. We note that the PRC statement of regret, but the presence of this balloon in our airspace, it is a clear violation of our sovereignty as well as international law, and it is unacceptable this occurred. And to your question about the relationship moving forward, look, the president is always going to put the safety of Americans and the security of American people first. Under this president, we are more prepared to outcompete China, protect our national security, and advance a free and open Indo-Pacific than ever before. Many of the efforts we have been pursuing are bipartisan, underscoring the alignment at home and on this key issue. And so that's how we're going to continue to proceed. I think I got everything, but
May I ask a follow-up? Will the United States attempt to capture this balloon while it is in U.S. airspace?
My gosh. As you heard from my colleague, they are clearly keeping an eye on the balloon and going to continue to monitor it. We're not going to give any more specifics than that, but it is something that the Pentagon is keeping a close eye on, and I'm just not going to get ahead of the flight path or the pattern or anything like that.
Is the president ruled out then shooting it down if he's already taken that recommendation, or is that still something he's considering?
Continue to monitor. I'm going to clearly leave it to the Department of Defense to figure out the next steps as they monitor this, but I just don't have anything else to share.
Was the president,
when you said that it's not appropriate for him to go right now, what does the president think would be the appropriate conditions under which the Secretary of State's travel could go ahead? And also, DOD and you have just clearly stated it's a surveillance balloon, and the Chinese are trying to sell it as, a weather intel gathering balloon. So you seem to not be buying their propaganda here, if you think.
Well, again, we've acknowledged their statement of regret.
Yeah, but they're saying they're not gathering intel the way you have laid it out.
What I'm saying is, look, I'm going to refer you to the Department of Defense as it relates to intel. But I will reiterate what my colleague has said, which is we acted immediately to take all necessary steps to protect against foreign intelligence collection of sensitive information. We are tracking closely and keeping all options on the table. And as the Pentagon, the Pentagon have said, this is a high altitude surveillance balloon. It is well above commercial airspace. And again, as my colleague has said at the Pentagon, it is well above 60,000 feet. It does not pose a military or physical threat. And again, I don't have anything more to share on that. I would refer you to my colleague.
Karine, if this was already found out by Tuesday, why did it take so long for the decision to cancel Secretary Blinken? And if you can just clarify when that decision was made, and also, are there any plans for President Biden to call President Xi over this?
As it relates to a conversation with President Xi, I could tell you this: our national security team has communicated directly with the Chinese government about this at several levels, and I just don't have any calls to preview for you. As it relates to the president's, the Secretary Blinken's trip, I leave it to the State Department to explain that further. But again, as I said, the president agrees with the secretary postponing this trip. It is very bumpy, and we are being asked to sit. And thank you, everybody. I'll see you on the ground.
Thank you.